Alright, new video. Will these Marvel slash DC relationships work out?
Would Spider-Man and Supergirl get along if they existed in the same universe?
Yes, they would get along, but as friends.
Would they be rivals? Friends?
Yeah,
Maybe
friends.
something more? And what about Batman and Daredevil?
Batman and Daredevil. Well, Batman and Daredevil, I think they would. I don't think they would be friends. I think they would more or less be like. I think Batman would watch Daredevil, and Daredevil would be like. I don't know. He just wouldn't care. He would understand what Batman's doing, but I don't think they would be friends. I think like how Batman treats the rest of the Justice League as like at an arm's length. That's what he would do to Daredevil.
Or Moon Knight in The Question? I wanted to
No, no, that wouldn't work out. Not at all.
explore these potential relationships in this merged world and see how they play out. Let's start with Spidey and Supergirl, because their movies are coming out and I need to manipulate the YouTube algorithm to get you guys to click somehow. First of all, they would likely meet at work. Peter is a photographer and Kara is a reporter. They'd probably find each other at a newsworthy event, like a mayoral debate, but both dip to change into their hero costumes when a villain attacks, probably Green Goblin. Here, Kara would see through Peter's mask with her X-ray vision and poke fun at him for making a career out of taking pictures of himself, and he'd probably return with a quip about how Instagram e-girls do the exact same thing. The two would become very
random.
Very fast friends, bonding over stress from deadlines, and Peter nerding out like crazy, asking her all about crypto.
Ooh, but it depends on if they're the same age. If they're the same age, like Kara's usually a teenager and Peter's usually a teenager, if they're the same age, they're definitely getting along. I don't think a relationship will start. I think there would be a spark, but I don't think it should go further than that. But if it's like adult, they're just gonna be friends.
Kryptonian technology, while Kara's slightly naive Midwestern upbringing would make her endlessly entertained by his constant stream of bad jokes and stupid puns. They would also share a common sense of survivor's guilt that would bring them closer together. Peter lost his Uncle Ben and felt he could have stopped it, like how Kara lost her whole planet and wasn't able to prevent its destruction. And
I don't know about that one. I don't think Kara blames herself for not being able to stop it. I think she's just sad that everyone that she knows and loves is dead.
both of them have a hot streak. While they rein it in most of the time, they can fly off the handle and embrace their rage when pushed to the limit. And I think they'd be able to help each other calm down when things get bleak. I think their personalities mesh well enough, and they have enough overlapping traumatic experiences to bond over that there would be some real romantic potential for these two. Peter is a Riz god who somehow bagged both Mary Jane and Black Cat, so he would definitely put the charm on
No. I don't think he would try. With Mary Jane, Peter actively pursued her. Black Cat fell in love with Spider-Man, not Peter Parker. I don't think that's...
Supergirl, and I can see the two basically starring in their own little rom-com with plenty of superhero antics. Crypto would definitely chase Peter all around the city, while Supergirl watches from the sidelines. And I can see the Superdog definitely stopping at least one robbery by Black Cat. And Felicia would develop quite the grudge against both Kara and Crypto. But I think Peter and Kara would definitely make each other better while together, constantly reminding the other to cut themselves.
Alright, so the clear difference in why I don't think this will work is because there's a clear power difference, and eventually they're gonna meet someone that's gonna get Peter. Peter's the weaker of the two, so it's gonna get him. And I just don't see the relationship lasting that long. I just think they're better as friends, high school friends. Heroes like Superman and Lois, Superman and Lois doesn't make sense to me as a couple, as a relationship, because can bench press the earth while she's just a normal human. Technically, she should be dead.
Some slack. However, I think they'd eventually break it off. Peter has this tendency to be pretty
If they were to be in a relationship, it would eventually break off, for sure.
prideful when life stresses him out. I can see him saying something deeply stupid when Aunt May is sick or he's just been fired from the Bugle, letting out his frustration over the fact that his girlfriend
He's been fired so many times, I don't think that bothers him, but Aunt May, yeah.
is infinitely more powerful and beloved by the public than he is. For you see, every time Peter
But that shouldn't be a factor, because Peter doesn't really care what the Bugle or anyone has to say about him. He's been dealing with that since he started. If they're like experienced heroes at the time, I don't think that would be a factor to why he would say something mean to Kara. I think Aunt May being hurt is the main catalyst in like all comics where Spider-Man really like gets angry and pissed off. But I don't think the bugle is gonna make him angry.
Has successfully used his Riz, there are 10 more times he has fumbled the bag. These two would awkwardly be exes for a while, but eventually become friends again, ultimately one another's favorite hero to team up with. Moving over to Gotham City, how would
I agree with that.
Batman react to the Punisher? I definitely think that
Alright, so they're fighting every time they see each other. Like, it's no debate. Punisher would have respect for Batman, not Bruce Wayne. If he knew who Bruce Wayne was, he would hate Bruce Wayne. But he would have some respect for Batman, but he knows he's gonna have to take him out to continue doing what he's gonna do. Batman won't kill him, but he'll try to hospitalize Frank as much as possible, but he'll just keep coming back. He's like the who's that dude that shot Nightwing in the head? The KGB. He's like the KGB. You can hurt him as much as you want. He'll come back.
Frank is smart enough and brutal enough to take out at least one or two of the big players in the city. Maybe Black Mask or the Penguin before Bruce.
The Penguin, I think he'd take out Black Mask. I don't know about. I think the Penguin is a little more difficult. I think out of the all crime bosses, the Black Mask would be the first to go by Frank.
Is able to track him down. Their fight would be absolutely brutal, but Batman would not allow his punishing to continue. He'd bust out Ol' Reliable, circle, square, 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 and Frank would act like.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah, they're gonna be fighting every single time they see each other. Every single time. Even if there were villains around, I think they would immediately go back to fighting. Their reasonings conflict so much because Batman or Bruce, whatever. Bruce lost his parents and wants to keep people alive. Punisher lost his family and wants to kill all the bad guys. Hypothetically speaking, if Punisher was about to kill a victim or not a victim, about to kill someone because they were a bad person, Batman would show up. He'd be like, "Oh, another superhero, cool, whatever." Right? Punisher would be like, he would say something like grouchy. "I'm just doing my duty." Point the gun, throw a batarang. Now they're fighting. That's exactly how it would go. Their reasoning, their origin in terms of loss is similar, but the outcome is very, very different. Punisher will kill if necessary. Batman won't kill no matter what.
His recent Marvel Presents special, flop hard into the ground. Bruce would likely hand him over to Commissioner Gordon, but I know exactly how Frank would make it out of Arkham Asylum. After he kills
he's killing everyone in there. All of them. The only person he's not gonna kill is Clayface. He's killing everyone else though, for sure. I can see him killing Bane. I can see him killing Killer Croc, Mr. Freeze. Yeah, I can see him putting a bullet through all. Just like in Arkham, he's clearing this place. Because this is where all the crazy people are. He's gunning for the Joker. In Arkham Asylum, he's gunning for the Joker. That's who he really wants. He'll kill whoever he needs to kill on the way, but who he's really aiming for is the Joker.
Fair share of inmates, like a fox in the henhouse, he would be busted out when Jason Todd returns as the Red Hood.
That's good. I don't know. This is very weird for me because they have the same method, but I can see them. I don't see them teaming up. I can see them recognizing each other for what they're doing and continue it. I don't see a team up though. I see you do this, I do this. We're just gonna clear the board, right? Do it our own ways, but we're gonna clear the board.
Jason and Frank are like two peas in a pod, and Jason was petty enough when he first arrived back in Gotham that he would definitely outfit Frank with the right intel and technology to continue his killing spree across the city while staying out of Batman's crosshairs.
Yes, yep, that's exactly what would happen. If Jason brought Frank out, he's definitely helping him stay out of Batman's way. He's getting him some utilities, he's getting him the guns, he's getting him everything he needs to do what he needs to do. That's exactly what would happen.
I think Punisher and Red Hood would be an unstoppable duo, violently cleaning up the streets with glee, but eventually they'd be knocked down a peg by Batman.
I don't really. It's so hard to imagine this because, like, if their both goal is just going to clear the board, right? I don't see Bruce stopping. If he has another Robin, yeah, sure, but I don't think him on his own would stop it.
Who brought some help with him this time? Daredevil.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, he's right.
Working together, Bruce and Matt would be able to put a stop to the two murderers. And while Jason would eventually rejoin the Bat family,
boy, this was probably one of the worst castings I've ever seen. Especially for Red Hood. Like, Marvel doesn't have rights to many characters, but DC has rights to all characters. Every single one. Why can't they just make a good character? Like, in Gotham is one of their best projects ever. Gotham is amazing. The Penguin, the actor who played the Penguin, phenomenal. The Riddler, phenomenal. All that was amazing. Harvey Bullock, phenomenal. Jason Todd. I don't think this is Jason Todd because it's young Bruce. But the Joker, I forgot what his name was, but he wasn't called the Joker at the time. But he played so well as the Joker, but he was not the Joker. He is the best representation of the comic accurate Joker. He's the Joker in real life. That's who that would be. I can't remember his name. I wish I could, but that's who. He's better than Heath Ledger's Joker. Heath Ledger got a movie, sure, but I never liked Ledger's Joker. I just never liked it. It wasn't who I grew up with. I grew up with a maniac, crazy person who do whatever he wants, whenever he wanted to. This Joker was calculating plans. It's like, okay, like you can have that, but you gotta be chaotic with it. And Heath Ledger didn't give that to me. Gotham is so good. I like, it's so good.
I think Frank would go find a different city to stalk, maybe Bloodhaven, where he could be a recurring
No, I don't think he would go to Bloodhaven. Bloodhaven is bad, but it's not as bad as Gotham.
Antagonist and or team up for Nightwing.
Team up. If he didn't know he killed people, Nightwing from his side would see it as a team up. Frank would see it as I'm using him.
As for Batman and Daredevil, wait! Don't forget to like and subscribe. Done? Okay, cool. As for Batman and Daredevil, God himself would manipulate causality to force these two to meet just for the sheer aura farming potential that would be lost if they never posed on a rooftop together. After they accumulate enough aura points using a fog machine against the backdrop of a full moon on top of a pair of gargoyles, I think they would actually have a really deep respect for one another. Bruce figuring out Matt's secret identity only a few days after first meeting him out on patrol, and Matt piecing together Batman's identity using his senses to pin down his smell, heartbeat, and voice.
Good Daredevil figure out Bruce's identity. I don't know. I haven't seen that much of the Daredevil series. I haven't seen Born Again either, but I don't see Matt figuring it out. I just don't. From I could be wrong, but from what I've seen from like seasons 1 through 2 of Daredevil, I don't think he's figuring it out. It takes him so long just to do simple things. To be honest, I just don't think Matt is as good or as smart as Batman. So I just don't see him being able, like, there's plenty of people who have much better resources than Matt who don't know who Batman is. So, but just because he's a lawyer and he can smell and see, the senses might give it away, but I don't see them crossing past civilian lives. So I don't know how he would figure it out. I think Bruce would come to him first. I don't see Daredevil figuring out who Bruce is.
As the same as Bruce Wayne. Coming to an understanding, I think Bruce would gift Nelson, Murdoch, and Page with a hefty grant to help with their pro bono legal work, and in return, Matt would follow.
Yeah, see, I think Batman or Bruce would come to them first. I don't think Daredevil's figuring out his identity.
Follow up on cases where Batman captured a villain who's trying to squirm out of the charges in court. They would make the perfect pair. But beneath the surface, there would be some animosity brewing. Bruce is distrusting by nature and wouldn't like how much Matt seems to enjoy the violence he inflicts on others. His weird screeching about, "Let the devil out!" While Matt would take issue with Bruce's contingency plans for him and.
So, situation, how would Daredevil know about the contingency plans? I don't believe Daredevil is figuring out who Bruce is. I think Bruce will come to him first. But Bruce is so he like after like a couple weeks or a couple months, he would come to he would either give them anonymous information, or he would appear at night like in full costume, like, yeah, I know who you are, here's some information. I don't see Daredevil figuring out any of this.
Other heroes, and greatly oppose how he adopts and trains minors as his Robins.
Yeah, I can see that.
And how coldly he seems to treat them. This friction might boil over during a particularly difficult case, where the stress of dealing with a soulless monster like Joker or Bullseye causes the two to snap. Maybe sparked when Tim gets injured and Matt finally.
Okay, which version of Batman is he talking about? He's Robin to Jason Todd. Like, you have each Robin is a different point in Batman's life and a different character of who he is. He overall stays the same of distrusting, mysterious, has contingency plans, but Jason Todd, like for Dick Grayson, he was more happy as Robin, and that's where Jason Todd came in. But Jason Todd he replaced Dick enough to keep Batman from going to the dark side. But when he died, Batman was more violent, and then Tim came in because Batman needed a Robin. He knew that. It really depends on which version of Batman he's talking about. If it's Jason Todd, yeah. If it's Tim Drake, I don't see it. I think Tim himself would be like, yo, yo, I want to do this. It's not, Tim would come up with the clapback like, yo, he's not forcing me to do this. I want to do this. Like, I'm doing this out of my own free will. Even if he didn't take me in, I would still do this.
He vents all his frustration, lashing out at Bruce. I think these two fighting would be legendary, and wouldn't end until one of them finally passes out, leaving
Batman's beating Daredevil. In a straight brawl, Batman's winning. He's too skilled, bro. Nightwing and Daredevil are the only two people that will go to a complete stalemate. Those two are a complete stalemate. Batman and Daredevil, Batman's winning off of pure skill alone. And his suit. His suit is just too... It'll knock Daredevil loose, bro.
the other battered and questioning everything. Batman and Daredevil are both too good-natured at their cores to end things this way, though, and I think they'd come away from the fight stronger and trusting one another even more. But not all crossovers end happily. I think the existence of Doctor Doom in a world with Lex Luthor would
So this is a classic trope of let's team up to defeat the villain and secretly betray each other. Doom is obviously taking this W, right? If it's the Doom I'm thinking of, the Doom who knows magic, the Doom is who has a super advanced suit, he's definitely taking out Lex before Lex gets to him. But Doom will definitely take him out.
have absolutely disastrous results. With these two giga chuds, they're both obsessed with their own egos, believing they are the greatest mind on the planet. And while their hatred is usually pointed at Superman and Mr. Fantastic, eventually one of Lex's real estate schemes would lead him plotting for Latverian land. And from there, all bets are off. Doom would likely make the first move.
No, I don't see Doom making the first move. Doom is he's not stupid. He's not even a villain for real. He's a person who who believes he is the smartest. He doesn't, like, they always try to depict Doom now, and especially in the recent call, they try to depict Doom as like this actual villain. Like, no, Latveria is a peaceful country. There's no disease, no money, no poverty, none of that, no sickness. None of that is there, right? Doom believes he should take over the world, but he believes he should take over the world because his ego. But his ego isn't telling him to do bad shit. It's telling him to do better. He wants to prove he's better than Reed. Go over the world. He could, yeah. Let's talk about it, right? Reed Richards created a paradise in the future. Doom is so petty, right? Doom is so petty. He went back in time and warned them that Reed Richards was gonna do something bad. But then they were like, yo, what was it actually like? He's like, yo, I lied. It's a paradise. But I ain't do it first. So we gotta take it out. And like, that's so petty, right? Then he destroys the universe because he has to accept Reed Richards to be his friend. That's crazy. Right. And then what really cements this into like fruition is the fact he went in front of was it the Tiger God or Panther God Bass? He went in front of some type of God that could see through all lies. Butt naked though, too, right? He did that. And God said, yo, you're crazy, but you're good crazy. You're doing these things because you would actually help people, not because you want to not because you're an actual villain. And it let him through. Doom is not a villain. He's someone he doesn't have a category for who he is. Doom's ego is just so strong, and he's so obsessed with it that he wants to be the best at what he believes he is. Right? He doesn't have a category. He's not a villain. He's not a hero. He's not even an anti-hero. Not an anti-villain. He's none of those things. He's just Doom. Right? He's someone who just thinks he's just Doom. That's just what he is. He does everything because he believes it'll be a good thing, and it was proven by a literal god of truth. Doom is not stupid enough to strike first. In all media you've seen him in, he never strikes first. He plans, he knows, right, before they meet, he knew who he was. He knew he was going to come for his country because he probably tried it before, right? So he knew. Lex is 100% throwing the first punch, though. He's not throwing the first punch.
Aware of Lex's plans to purchase some of his country for development and show up in Lex's home in the middle of the night, like Freddy Fazbear, opening a magic portal right into his bedroom to threaten the billionaire directly, to stay off his turf.
No, that's not Doom at all to me. Doom is the type of character to wait and see because he's so confident they will lose. Like, he believes no one can stop him. So he's so confident. So Lex's ego is like, I have to. Doom is because I can.
This would light a fire under Lex, and he would retaliate in the most...
Like, what he described was more like Batman to me. Because Batman did break into Lex's house in the animated series.
Maximalist way possible. He would want to make Doom hurt, so he would go for the throat. Using a shell company, he would reach out to Reed Richards for help developing an
Reed is not falling for this bullshit. Reed is not falling for this. Reed ain't stupid.
environmentally safe oil drill. Reed would
Bro, Reed is not dumb enough to fall for this. He knows he's like, if we're assuming they're all in the same world, all Marvel, all DC characters, Reed knows who Lex is. He knows he's not a good guy. He's not falling for this.
Likely help because it's an opportunity to do good, and he wouldn't recognize Lex's fingerprints on the project. Then Lex would set up these enormous tracking machines, proudly displaying "Built by Reed Richards, funded by LexCorp," all around the entire perimeter of Latveria. So Doom would be forced to see them whenever he looked out over his country, in any direction. From there, I think the two would spiral into deeper and more petty attempts to one-up the other.
No, Doom doesn't go back and forth with characters like this. Doom goes back and forth with Reed. He knows, even he doesn't admit it, he knows Reed is the only, he believes he's smarter than Reed, but he knows Reed is second. He knows Reed is second to him. That's why he goes back and forth with Reed. He doesn't go back and forth with anyone else. Not even Tony, bro. He doesn't go back and forth with other people.
Never actually coming to blows. They're both too mastermindy to ever actually damage their public reputation and outwardly fight the other.
Lex has punched Superman with his comic suit that shows his entire face. He has fought Superman at daytime, at nighttime, in Metropolis. No, this is not how this would go at all. No, I just don't. No. Lex is just so petty that he knows he'll get out next Friday.
Of course,
like Lex has been to jail so many times. Like, people know who he is, but still root for him because he's a billionaire and has the mass media on his side. So Lex wouldn't care.
Superman would be very aware of this rivalry and alert Reed Richards to it, and that's when
Reed would already know.
Mr. Fantastic would let it slip. He actually knew what Lex was up to from the start. If he could help people and poke fun at Doom in the process, how could he say no? And while Reed and Clark would definitely share a laugh about it, I think they would have other, much closer friends, particularly Clark. But before I tell you about Superman, I need to mention my Heroes vs. Villains series, where I pick villains from one universe to pit against heroes from another.
I didn't watch that fully. I don't remember any of it, actually, now that I think about it. I remember Thor's in it, but that's about it.
Done Marvel, DC, anime, gaming. Want to hear me talk about Hulk fighting Bowser or Superman versus Frieza? Then click that first link at the top of the description. I've grown up hearing stories from Pa Kent about the heroic adventures and kind heart of Captain America. And Cap's legacy would
Wasn't Pa Kent in the military? I think that would be a great connection.
Definitely have influenced Clark.
He could have fought side by side by Captain America, which would make a lot of sense.
Clark's decision to become Superman in a red and blue costume.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
Once Cap is unfrozen, I can see Clark seeking him out to tell him exactly that.
Yeah, I think he would see Cap as a mentor. Depends on, if we're talking like newly becoming Superman, and like Cap is like, this is Superman's eternally in his late 20s, I think. So if this is that Superman and Cap is just now getting unfrozen, I think he would still see Cap is technically older. No, he is older. So he would still see Cap as a mentor and try to understand more.
Only for Steve to be equally impressed in return, having heard about how Superman tirelessly protects Metropolis and the entire world.
Yeah, Cap is so good. Like, Earth Mightiest Heroes and Avengers Assemble does this really well. They show Cap as a leader, right? Because Cap, in both iterations, Cap doesn't get unfrozen till like almost the end of season 1. Like, only a few episodes later, he's designated leader. Not only because he has experience, but because he trusts everyone. He's the only one Hulk truly respects, and they show this in Avengers Assemble. They get mind control. Hulk gets mind controlled, and like something happens with the Mind Stone or some type of stone, and all the powers go haywire. Hawkeye's go blind. Tony's suit stops working. Thor loses the ability to lift Mjolnir. I think pretty much just angrier and bigger, and he starts raging. And Cap goes, "Stand down, soldier!" and screams and wakes him up through the mind control. Is the best reaction to who Cap is. Because even knowing he would lose to Hulk, he stood his ground and commanded him like a leader would.
These two would just click. While Cap is from Brooklyn, he is from the 1940s, and I think this would mesh really well with Clark's Kansas farm boy upbringing. I unironically think they'd go camping and fishing together on their off time, and debate old head stuff like exactly when movies stopped being good, or how music on the radio has just gotten so explicit lately, hasn't it? As heroes, Cap would definitely appreciate the assist when taking on Hydra and AIM agents, and even lend Superman his shield and let him toss it at an asteroid ready to smash into Manhattan. But I think in particular, Cap would introduce Clark to his other good friend, Thor. Knowing how much Thor loves a good arm wrestle, he would need to get these two together. I think.
Okay, here we go. Here's a controversial take that a lot of people are not gonna like. I'm standing all toes down, right, on this. You could debate with me, you can argue with me. We can go back and forth about it, but I'm standing on what I say, right? Thor beats Superman. I believe Thor beats Superman. Specific, not only because he got magic and he's a god, but Thor is just so wild as Superman. He's tanking blasts from Galactus, who can erase shit. He became the herald to Galactus, got stronger than that. He fought and destroyed the Iron Man not celestial armor, and those are celestials are bare minimum multiversal beings, right? And he ripped the World Tree from his roots, which was and all the I think it was all the combined powers of all the worlds and all realities couldn't stop him. So that's another feat. But he was in a Hulk stage, but he only got transformed because Hulk infected him. But I still think, I still think Thor could do it. He just became a Hulk at the time, but I still think he could do it. The reason I say that is also because of Wonder Woman. Because if Thor fought Wonder Woman, Thor would 100% win. I think Thor would win that 8 times out of 10. And most people don't probably know this. I'm gonna throw a little something real quick. Black Widow is a super soldier. She has been and always will be. What I'm really talking about is Wonder Woman. She can only really be physically hurt by someone stronger than her or piercing objects. So that's why she blocks bullets, because bullets are sharp, and if they hit her, they will go through her. So that's why she always blocks, right? It really depends on if Thor has the axe in the comic. I'm going by comic characters, by the way. So if he has the axe, he's definitely winning because he's just a much better experienced and fighter than Wonder Woman. And that goes for Superman too. Superman is not that good. He's compared to like a lot of other characters, Superman isn't that well of a fighter. He just punched really hard because he's so strong and he never had to train for it, right? Thor is a trained combatant. So how I'm going off this is when in terms of IQ, I'm going Superman. I guess I would say I would say Thor is really close. Battle IQ goes to Thor. Strength, physical strength, I would say that's a straight tie. Speed, probably Superman for sure, right? Durability, Thor. Durability is a straight tie. Weaponry, Thor. And abilities, Superman has like many abilities, but like the ones besides the freeze breath, like super speed, super flight, laser vision. Everything else is like just sort of like thrown in at moments when it's like needed for plot. So I'm going off of those ones. Thor has just so many other abilities just with his lightning alone. He can cause storm. He can freeze things. He could cause storm, earthquakes. He could summon a Bifrost. He could teleport. He can do all those type of things. He can control. He can do magic too. So I would say Thor wins in that turn. So going through my list of what I just said, going off of what I just said, I still think Thor would win. Well, okay, let's talk about output then. I think output and durability are the main factors here because they're both evenly in durability. They both tanked erasure existing things. The Omega Beams, Galactus, they both tank those. So I don't really hurt it. If like in a straight brawl, I don't see either one doing as much damage as the other, more damage than the other. But when it comes to output, I'm giving that to Thor, more range of outputs. Superman really has his laser vision, that's his strongest output. Thor has magic, which is like a weakness to Superman, but like it's a weakness for every superhero. Thor is stronger than Storm, and she just became a goddess of something, and traveled the multiverse or whatever. I'm standing 10 toes. I believe Thor beats Superman.
Superman would love to have another hero on his relative strength level, and revel in Thor's request to spar. These two flying bricks having a laugh as they punch the shit out of each other in deep space.
What Superman is he talking about? When does Superman enjoy fighting? Even with friends, I don't think Superman enjoys fighting.
Thor would appreciate that Midgard
Thor does, but not Superman.
Has such a strong protector when he needs to be off-world, and would offer Clark access to any information in the Asgard Royal Archives on Krypton and its people. I can even see Loki inviting Brainiac into the Golden City.
No, I don't see that. I don't think Brainiac would betray him. I think Brainiac would use him. Loki would betray him. There's two different things. Those are two different things. Brainiac would use Loki to his max output. Like he would use him to get to certain things, get to other places, but he wouldn't say, "Oh, this is mine now. I'm gonna stab in the back." Loki stab him in the back. But I just don't see this. I just don't see Loki and Brainiac this meeting ever going well, even if it was just to destroy Superman or Thor.
To help him conquer it, only for the two to inevitably double-cross one another in the end, leading to their downfalls. But I think the Marvel hero who would most benefit from having Clark around is Bruce Banner. You might not be aware of this super deep-cut niche comic book lore, but the Hulk can sometimes get a little bit angry, and that usually leads to him rampaging and causing mass destruction. Not to mention,
yeah, Bruce would be obsessed with Superman's DNA because he would probably believe that it could cure him.
And when he's being hunted down by the military.
Now, okay, so this is another battle that I think gonna piss a lot of people off, but Hulk beats Superman. There's no permanent way for Superman to kill Banner because of the Green Door. There's no permanent way. There is literally no way for him to. So if this fight went on infinitely for an infinite amount of time, Superman would eventually fall because Hulk always has a way to come back. Superman does not. When he dies, right? He can come back, but I'm assuming they're in their battle. They're gonna destroy everything, like everything, right? So I believe Hulk would also take that way.
Superman is uniquely posed to help. He's strong enough to physically handle Hulk's outbursts, bop him on the head when he's about to rip the state of Wisconsin straight out of.
That one animation with Superman versus Hulk pretty much cemented what I believe. He just let him calm him down to get him weakened, right? But if this fight were comic accurate characters, Hulk would eventually come out with a dub. Because there's no way for Superman to continue fighting.
But also, he's kind and patient enough to talk him down. I think Clark would eventually end up acting as a...
No. I don't see that. I believe Hulk would piss him off. Not Hulk. Superman would piss Hulk off. Just the character. I could see Hulk just looking at Superman and being like, I fucking hate this guy. Right? And start fighting him. That's how he feels about Thor. He just hates Thor because of who he is. He doesn't care if you can talk to him. A person that would lose control if he dropped his pencil. You know what I mean?
Mediator between Bruce and Hulk. Something.
If it was Bruce first, yeah. If it's Hulk first, no.
They would both be extremely grateful for. So neither of them ends up being the sole owner of their body anymore.
Is he talking about Smart Hulk? Because this is not the Hulk I'm talking about.
Speaking of Hulk, I think his cousin Jennifer would get along quite well with Nightwing, if you catch my drift. Something about how stupidly upbeat and personable these two are. They both flourished in their superhero identities, while their predecessors, Hulk and Batman, are chained down by it. Dick has already dated an orange girl.
I know, I can see where he's going, but there'll be a little flirtiness going on, but other than that, no.
I think a green one would definitely be in the cards for him. While Dick is a notorious flirt, I think it would actually be Jen who makes the first move, and then
if it were to happen, yeah.
The second, third, and fourth, all in quick succession. Nightwing is a hot commodity in the superhero dating market, and She-Hulk is thirsty as hell. But seriously, these two would be the ultimate power couple. I can practically see Jen tossing Dick at a group of criminals as he twirls through the air, taking each of them out with his acrobat skills before he even touches the ground. She would definitely call him Circus Boy, amongst a few other non-PG nicknames. She-Hulk's strength and lawyer skills make her the perfect addition to Nightwing's arsenal, protecting Bloodhaven, and he would teach her all about the tricks of the superhero trade non-powered heroes need to know. I'm listening to the rest of what he's saying, and the relationship can work. I just don't think this is I'm trying to figure out a relationship that would actually last, but all these seem like they would just end after a couple of months. I don't think there's anybody else these two couldn't stop while working together, on the streets and in the courts. And you know whoever they catch is getting berated with jokes non-stop. So much they'll be praying to fight Spider-Man instead. But moving away from quips and getting a little bit more intellectual, I think there's potential for one of the greatest and most interesting friendships ever between Martian Manhunter and Silver Surfer. Both are ageless.
They would completely be friends. Perfect. This is a perfect matchup. This is amazing.
This immortal.
Death Battle did this really exactly how this would go. This is how Death Battle depicted it was exactly how it would go, minus the fighting.
Spacefaring loners who were separated from their people long ago. They both wield immense power and suffer with a.
He choked Johnny up.
loss of identity and finding new meaning in their existence. These two are some of the most existential heroes around. I can see Surfer taking Jean on trips around the solar system on his board, protecting him from the heat of the sun so they can visit and gaze upon Mars from a distance. And Jean would return the favor, using his telepathy to connect Norrin with his love, Shala Bal, on his homeworld that he's been banished from by Galactus, finally able to communicate with her after years serving as a herald. I think these two would not only be great friends, but would put their great minds to good use, forming a society of like-minded individuals to tackle some of the universe's greatest problems, a sort of cosmic fraternity. Among the other members would be Vision, Swamp Thing, Adam Warlock, and Orion. Together, these six would form an incredible brotherhood, unmatched across the cosmos in power, wisdom, and capacity.
This is pretty much just the remix Annihilators.
Good. On the completely other end of the spectrum, how about a toxic-ass friendship? What if the Question teamed up with Moon Knight?
Boy, this would be perfect for a comedy because it would make 100% sense. Yeah, this would be a fire TV show. You can call it, if they called it Moon Knight Questions, that would be hilarious because this dynamic questions Moon Knight, and Moon Knight questions. But he also questions himself.
Sage is a paranoid, frazzled, conspiratorial mess of a human being who would bring out the absolute worst in Mark Spector, the dissociative, possibly schizophrenic, hyper-violent zealot vigilante.
Possibly he is schizophrenic.
These two meeting would be like tossing a match into a vat of gasoline. The Question would stumble onto Moon Knight beating the piss out of some criminals during one of his investigations and recognize the name Khonshu as the Moon God, once included in the occult schemes of a secret society he unraveled. They would start at each other's throats, but Mark's alter, Steven, would realize Question could be useful in helping them track down their next target, and thus begins an endless cycle of enabling. While Question might only stay up for 2 days at a time on average, seeing Moon Knight go for 3, totally insomnia-mogging him, it would convince Vic to pound back another 10 cups of coffee, maybe snort some powdered sleep, if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
How he's describing Question is not the Question I know from the animated series, but I can see what he's... Does Question do drugs in the show? I thought he hated drugs. I thought he hated criminals. Really sure about where he's going with this. It could be just a joke.
And break into another government black site. And Vic's constant schizo-pilled rambling about all the devil-worshipping global cabals that are gang-stalking them would send Moon Knight into a spiral as he pours all that added stress into increasingly dangerous and self-destructive behavior, tackling fights against 10, 20, 50 criminals all at once, because vengeance needs to be dealt, and there are clearly bigger fish to fry.
Right, so Moon Knight he wears a white suit. Like, his suit was not originally like given to him. He usually just wore it, and the suit was white mainly because he wants people to know he's coming. He's literally reverse Batman. He wants them to know, I'm here and there's nothing you can do about it. I think it was also said that he wants them to see the blood stains when he's beating their ass on his suit. Question wouldn't like Moon Knight. Moon Knight's personalities, I think Jake Lockley would hate Question. I think the other two would be like, this guy's fucking annoying. Besides Steven. But yeah, you know what I mean?
In these tiny local gangs. I don't see this partnership going well at all.
No, it won't go well at all. I could see them trying to kill each other in the first 3 days.
These two are both the right kind of antisocial crazy to burn each other out, if they don't die first. Back up in space, I think a must-see team-up would be the Guardians of the Galaxy and the main man himself, Lobo. Lobo is...
Ooh, now this is a good one. Relationship? No, Gamora would hate this man. The version of them now. Peter would probably think Lobo is cool, but everyone else would not like it. I think Rocket would constantly be trying to steal his ride, his weapons, all that. Gamora would hate this man off of sheer personality. Groot would be okay with it, I guess. Drax, he would probably try to test his strength more than anything. Mantis, I think she'd be a little disgusted by Lobo and how dirty he is if she read his mind.
Is a crass, devil-may-care space bounty hunter with an ego the size of Uranus. He would definitely accept a job to take out some notorious criminal the Guardians are after. Maybe a particularly slippery Skrull or a Red Lantern.
Or one of them. Like, I could see him taking on a bounty to kill Rocket. Rocket or Quill,
only to find the
or especially Gamora.
Guardians on the scene first, and immediately start throwing hands. Between Drax, Groot, and Star-Lord, they would probably be able to hold him off long enough while Rocket
The only person that's giving him a hard time is Groot. I can see Gamora cutting him open, but he'd immediately heal after that.
tears apart his space bike and turns it into a giant gun.
Rocky would throw everything he has at this man and it wouldn't do anything.
Fortunately, he wouldn't need to fire it. One look at Gamora, and Lobo would alter his priorities.
Yeah, he would definitely try, but she would definitely not go with it.
He would decide to graciously allow them to keep this bounty, if he could stick around for a while. For there, I think Lobo would be like the most annoying parasite ever, constantly
Yeah, okay, I see where he's going with this. I see where he's going with this. Yeah, he's right on this
hitting
one.
on Gamora while she continuously pummels him, getting into pointless grudge matches with Drax, and endlessly stupid arguments with Rocket. But over time, I think Lobo would actually be softened a little bit by the Guardians. He's never going
Hell no. Are we serious? No. Softened? Lobo 12 or 13, he blew up his planet. He killed everyone on his planet. Because he wanted to give himself an A on a science fair project. No, there's no amount of Lobo was banned from heaven and hell. He was banned. There's no amount of changing that's gonna, or how much connection you think is gonna change that. He was banned from heaven and hell. He wasn't allowed to. I think he got kicked out of purgatory too. I think he's forbidden to be a ghost for like longer than 24 hours.
to be a member of their found family, but he'd probably at least turn into that one racist uncle you tolerate at Thanksgiving because he's funny. And realistically, I can see him jiving pretty well with Rocket, the two taking off on adventures every once in a while
What is that PNG of Rocket?
to chase after a mark or a super rare piece of weapon tech that the rest of the team just doesn't care about. I think the Guardians would put up with
Yeah, Rocket and Lobo would bond over the share stories and like activities of like stealing and weaponry and all that type of stuff.
Lobo while he actually feels some fondness for them. Well, as fond as Lobo can feel. Finally, I want to end things with a true bromance. Wally West and Johnny Storm. The Flash and the Human Torch.
I kind of want to hear what he has to say because I can't really come up with my own answer.
These two are both cocky, competitive goofballs, and together
Wally is? He's showing Barry, but Wally is? This is Barry, by the way. I don't think Wally is cocky. If we're talking about the red and gray suit, maybe. I think Flash is more of a funny person. Johnny is cocky. Flash is comedic.
their collective IQs would reduce to double digits as they gas each other up to try dumber and dumber things with their powers. I
I can see that. I can see that happening.
can see these two meeting when they're still super young and fresh into using their abilities, instantly becoming the superhero equivalent of frat bros as they flex their
Wally doesn't get his powers as a kid. He gets them as a teenager. Johnny gets it as an adult. So they would have to have grown up together.
supercharged metabolisms and sweep a hot dog eating contest together.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's true. I didn't realize that Johnny does eat a lot. He does eat a lot. I didn't realize that.
Wally would constantly be scouring Star Labs for new materials to see if they can withstand the heat of Johnny's flame, while Torch would spend every waking moment throwing things at Flash to try and catch him off guard.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. He would try to hit this man as much as possible.
Johnny would definitely conscript Wally into helping him prank Ben, using his super speed to steal his coffee or the TV remote when he's not looking. Thing crazy. They would have a blast, until the day Wally runs face first into an invisible force field, Sue Storm finally catching on to their shenanigans and putting a stop to it. Of course, Wally would respond by immediately hitting on her, and from that day
Hollywood? I don't see. I think he's talking about like the animated series Wally and not the comic Wally. If we're going animated series, everything he's saying is true. I'm going off with like the current run of him and with the Teen Titans, and realize he can't actually phase out of it. I think that's how. I don't think he would hit on because he does have a wife and kids right now. I think.
forward, Reed would have him banished from the Baxter building, so the Flash and the
No, I don't think he'd banish him.
Torch would need to get up to their shenanigans elsewhere. Stay frosty.
That was a good video. That was a good video. I didn't agree with a few things he said, but towards the end, I agreed with almost everything he said. It made a lot of sense, and I know who Beware is. And I never really watched many of his videos, but now I get to talk about it like this. I enjoyed this way more than I thought I really liked it.